This summer, I got the amazing opportunity to go to Thailand, and I heard great things about the country. One being that the island life is something that I need to experience. So naturally, I made my way to an island called Koh Phi Phi, and it was amazing. I'm talking white sands, clear waters, intricate cliffs and hillsides, very nice people, very tasty food. One of the things I did on this island was I went on this walk that took me up very tall staircases and very high hills and took me to this lookout of the entire island. And it was very, very beautiful. It was a very unique experience, not just because of the landscape, but because of the people that were around me. Very different people, talking different races, different ages, different genders, people from different cultures that have different backgrounds, all together admiring this beautiful view. And this wasn't the only thing we had in common. Our fascination with natural beauty was not the only thing we had in common. Um, we all, and I'm talking everybody, took out their phones and took a picture of themselves in front of this beautiful landscape, and myself included, by the way. And I sat at this lookout for about 45 minutes or so because it was, just so beautiful. And I must have saw about maybe 150 different people come up, and everybody, everybody. I'm talking Russians, Americans, Mexicans, Latinos, Thai people, Japanese people, Chinese people. All of us took out our phones and took a picture of ourselves in front of this beautiful landscape. But this isn't all that we did. A lot of us, when we took the picture, we looked at the picture on our phones, and then we typed a few buttons, and then we typed out like a sentence or a paragraph or whatever, and then typed a few more buttons, and then we put our phones in our pockets. And many of you guys know exactly what we were doing. We were putting our picture on social media, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, you name it. Here's my picture in all of its glory. I put mine on Instagram. Now, my question to you is, why do you think that we posted this picture on social media? Was it because we reacted positively to this beautiful landscape and we wanted to share that with others so that they can then react positively? Or were we thinking something like, hey, this place is pretty cool and I'm at this place right now. So that makes me cool because I go to cool places. So I'm going to share this with the rest of the world so that they can think that I am cool. Now, if I'm honest, that's the main reason why I posted this picture on my Instagram account. I was after people's positive affections. But that's not the only reason why I post on social media or do anything on social media for that matter. I'm not always after people's positive affections. I'm actually trying to give my positive affections to others. I do this through liking someone's stuff, commenting something nice on somebody's stuff. Sometimes the object that I'm posting about, I'm trying to give my positive affections. Now, let me explain that a little bit. I just got a new kitten. In fact, my kitten is laying on the bed right behind this camera. I'm pretty surprised he's not jumping all over this camera right now. But anyway, I just got this new kitten, and I have been just overloading my Instagram story with videos of my kitten. Now, why? Because I love my kitten, and I want you guys to love my kitten. And so I'm loving my kitten by helping you guys love my kitten. So sometimes I do things on social media to give other people my positive affections. So, my second question to you guys is, why do you post on social media? Why do you leave comments? Why do you like people's stuff? Why do you scroll through Instagram or Facebook? or Snapchat or whatever. Why do you do what you do on social media? I'm going to give you my answer. I believe that we do everything that we do on social media because we have a desire to love and be loved. Our desire to love and be loved motivates everything that we do on social media. Before we go any further, I just want to clarify that when I'm talking about somebody's use of social media, I'm talking about somebody's personal use of social media. I'm not talking about somebody's use of social media in the way that they're running a social media page for, say, a business or for a project. I am talking about somebody's personal use of social media. So when I said that everything that we do on social media is motivated by our desire to love and be loved, some of you may be thinking, Drew, chill out. I just like post memes on Instagram and that's it. I just think that they're funny. Okay, I would like to push back on this point of view by kind of role playing a conversation that I would have with this person. So I would start by asking them, so you post memes on social media because you think that they're funny, correct? They'd say, correct. Okay, why do you feel a need to share them with other people? I mean, can't you just enjoy them on your own? Well, I want other people to think that they're funny too. Well, why do you feel a need for other people to think that these memes are funny? Well, everybody needs a good laugh every once in a while. Okay, so would you say that you are fulfilling somebody's need to laugh every once in a while by posting these memes on social media? Well, yeah, I guess I'd say that. Well, wouldn't you say that fulfilling somebody's needs is an act of love? Well, yeah, I guess I would say so. All right, so we just analyzed why this person is posting memes on social media, and it's because they have a desire to love others. Now, if they're honest, a lot of times people post memes on social media because they want other people to think that they're funny, right? Because if they post memes that are funny, that means that they themselves are funny. So if that was their answer to that question of why they post memes on social media, I would follow up with this question. So why do you want people to think that you're funny? Well, I want people to think I'm funny so that they'll like me more. Well, then wouldn't you say that you're wanting people to, love you more? Well, I I guess, yeah, I would say that. Okay. So again, this person is posting memes because they have a desire to be loved. All right, let's try another scenario. Let's say that an elderly parent uses Facebook, and let's say that their kids don't really interact with them that much. Okay, so the conversation could look like this. So why do you use Facebook? I use Facebook so that I can see what my kids are doing. Well, why do you feel I need to see what your kids are doing on Facebook? Because I love my kids. Why is it a loving thing to see what your kids are doing on Facebook? So that I can know what questions to ask when they come to visit me. All right, so we can see that their use of Facebook is motivated by their desire to love their kids. All right, the conversation could also look something like this. So why do you use Facebook to see what your kids are doing? I use Facebook to see what my kids are doing because I wouldn't know what they're doing in their life any other way. Does it bother you that you don't know what your kids are doing any other way other than, you know, going on Facebook? Yes, it does. All right. Would you say that it would be loving for your kids to, interact with you, like call you, come and visit you? Yes, I do think that that would be loving. I would love to hear what's going on in their life other than using Facebook. Okay, so in this situation, the elderly parent has this need to interact with their kids, and that need is going unmet. They have this desire to be loved in this specific way, and they are not being loved in this specific way. So they're going to Facebook to find compensation, to try and find the closest thing they can to this love. And in this case, it is seeing a digital, unpersonal catch up on their kids' lives. So, again, in this situation, their use of Facebook is directly connected to their desire to be loved in this specific way. By the way, I am not saying that every elderly person who goes on social media to like see what their kids are doing in their lives is somehow suffering from neglect. I'm in no way saying that. I'm just giving us another scenario that highlights the fact that everything that we do on social media is motivated by our desire to love and to be loved. So let's give one more scenario. Let's say that you are on Instagram and you're scrolling and you see a great picture of a high school couple. They're happy as can be, and you're about to leave them a comment, but then you start reading the comments and you notice that somebody is leaving these really, really nasty comments. And you may be thinking, okay, this person isn't trying to receive love, and he's certainly not trying to give that couple any sort of love. So the statement of our desire to love and be loved motivates everything we do on social media doesn't seem to be holding up. Well, actually it does. Let me explain why. This person is probably hurt in some way. This person probably feels like they weren't loved the way that they should have been. So their desire to be loved is actually motivating what they are doing on social media. Just the only thing is it's happened because they didn't receive the love that they needed, or at least they don't feel like they received the love that they needed. So in this situation, they are still motivated by their desire to be loved. So in this video so far, I've given us 3 scenarios that encapsulate the idea that what motivates everything that we do on social media is our desire to love and be loved. But does this statement encapsulate everything that motivates us to do what we do on social media? I don't think that it does. I think it's getting at what motivates us to do everything that we do on social media, but it doesn't encapsulate everything. Now, I just did a video on what I am calling deep relationships. That was my previous video. I define deep relationships as relationships where love is mutually given to the other's whole person. I believe that these deep relationships, our desire for these deep relationships, is what motivates everything that we do on social media. Now, notice that I said love is mutually given. So that means that it's not a one-way street. It's not we are loving somebody else or they are loving us. It is both of those. We are loving someone else and they are loving us as well. And notice that I said that it's love given to one's whole person. So love that is given to our glamorous side and not so glamorous side. And we are loving somebody's glamorous side and not so glamorous side. We all desire these kinds of relationships. And I believe that this kind of relationship, our desire for these kinds of relationships, is what motivates everything that we do on social media. Now you may be thinking, okay, Drew, you just convinced me that my desire to be loved and to love others is motivating everything that I do on social media. But this new statement that my desire for deep relationships, that my desire for relationships where love is mutually given to the other's whole person, is motivating everything I do on social media, that seems a little bit far-fetched. I don't think I believe that. I mean, I keep things pretty shallow on social media, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah. Okay. I believe you. No, I believe that you may not be actively seeking out deep relationships on social media. But notice what I said. I said that our desire for deep relationships is motivating everything that we do on social media. I never said that we're actively seeking them out on social media necessarily. I'm just saying that our desire for deep relationships is in the background of everything that we do, silently but surely motivating everything that we do on social media. Our desire for deep relationships is the same desire that motivated us to develop those shallow relationships. All right, so we just heard one critique of my main point that our desire for deep relationships is motivating everything that we do on social media. Let's hear another critique. So many of you may be thinking, okay, Drew, I have deep relationships outside of social media. So I get my fix other places than social media. So when I go to social media, I really don't have a desire for deep relationships. That need is already being met. So your statement that my desire for deep relationships is motivating everything that I do on social media, I don't think is true. All right, here's my response. I believe that you have deep relationships outside of social media. In fact, I hope that we all have these deep relationships outside of social media. But here's the thing. I want you to think of the person that you have the deepest relationship with. Who's your best friend? Okay. Let's say that that person is your wife. Okay. Do you need to pursue a relationship with your wife in order for it to give you any sort of fulfillment? I think the answer is yes. Okay. Like, what if she just stopped saying I love you to you? That would probably hurt pretty bad. What if you just stopped making dinner for her or doing the dishes, or you just stopped spending time with her? That would probably hurt. That relationship would not be very fulfilling. Now let's say that you're just talking about a best friend, and one of the reasons why you have a deep relationship with this person is because you may have shared some information about yourself that you haven't shared with anybody else, and they loved you in spite of it. Do you need to be reminded that they love you, or do they just need to say it once and then you just believe it for the rest of your life? I think the answer is that you need to be reminded that they love you. At least that's my experience. So here's what I'm trying to say. We need to pursue these deep relationships in order for them to give us any sort of fulfillment. Deep relationships are not passive, they're active. So here's why I bring all this up. We may have deep relationships outside of social media, but we don't always pursue these deep relationships. Therefore, we don't always get the fulfillment that we're designed to have from these relationships. And when we don't have this fulfillment that we're supposed to have through these relationships, we start trying to find fulfillment other places. And that place may be social media. We may be trying to find this fulfillment through the relationships that we build on social media, or just whatever we do on social media. Some of you may be getting a little bit confused, and for a good reason, because you're having a hard time understanding how I can differentiate between deep relationships outside of social media and relationships inside of social media, because to you they seem like we're talking about the same thing, because people that you have deep relationships with outside of social media may be your friends or followers on social media. So when you send them a message or leave them a comment or like or whatever on social media, you may be thinking, well, aren't I pursuing the same deep relationship I have with them outside of social media on social media? So aren't we just talking about the same thing here? Well, okay, technically, yes, when you think about it like that. But let's talk about the social media, the relationships inside of social media real quick. When I talk about that, I am talking about the comments, the likes, the photos that you share, whatever interactions that you have, I'm asking you to lump them together and put them over here. And then any interactions or experiences that you have of the same person outside of social media, I'm telling you to lump all those together and put them over here. And we're calling that your relationship with them outside of social media. So that's what I mean when I'm differentiating between relationships inside social media and relationships outside of social media. And the reason why I'm doing that is because we interact with people very differently inside of social media than we do outside of social media. So throughout this talk, I talked about how our desire for deep relationships motivates everything that we do on social media. I started that by making the claim that our desire to be loved and to love others motivates everything that we do on social media, but then I took it a step further and made the case that our desire for deep relationships motivates everything that we do on social media. Now, the question becomes, is social media a place where these deep relationships can be formed, and is it a place where these deep relationships can flourish? Is social media a place where we can develop relationships where love is mutually given to the other's whole person, or is it not? That is the question that we are going to talk about in my next video. So thank you very much for listening.